So, you know, I wasn't completely making this stuff up. It was, even this journalist knows about it. He's the one who wrote about it. So they didn't show that either. They cut Mark Perelman completely out. You know, there was a lot of stuff like that.
So how many other witnesses did they show you that we didn't watch?
We must have seen about 25 people. So you guys saw maybe what 10, 15 people. So they must cut about 10 or 15 people.
I mean, I think that's an overstatement.
I think so.
I remember seeing were people throwing eggs. I mean, it was what was it, eggs and rocks.
Yeah.
And,
so they cut out maybe 2/3 of the people. Because some people were on our side. Some people were pro. Because our side was investigation. We were like, we need a new inquiry. That was our conclusion. That's where we got to. Because no one really knows what happened on 9/11. And that is what we depicted on the show as well. Which you did see. So we showed everyone that no one really knows what happened on 9/11. Therefore, we need new unbiased inquiry. An independent inquiry. To ascertain what actually happened. You know, if we knew, we probably wouldn't have had all these illegal wars and all the stuff that's going on in the world today. The world would be a better place.
Well, so, it's all manipulation. It's media manipulation.
That's exactly what it is. I'm glad people see through it. You know, a lot of people.
Well, I think more people are awakening to it. That's why we have more people like myself and other people like Resistance Radio people, Mr. Britt, all of these people who come forward. You know, I mean, all the people on our channel or on our network here, which you've been on one of our shows. I think you were with Zach.
Yeah.
Not too long back. He gets some great guests, by the way. I'm jealous. No. I try to be, I'm the Wednesday hump guy. That's how I look at it. I'm just the guy people come to when they just want to chat. You know, I try not to take it too far, and yet I present, I think, you know, in most cases, ideas that I hope people kind of get, you know, and it's just basic principles of wisdom, and I have a background to be able to see through illusion because I was an illusionist.
Yeah.
You know, and that gives me I found out a lot about hypnosis and how hypnosis is used.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of hypnosis. I mean, most of television today is hypnotic.
It
is a tool of creating. I mean, I think of, you know what I think of? Here's a good thing. Have you ever heard the allegory of the cave?
Yeah, go ahead.
You know what I'm talking about with the allegory of the cave? The allegory of the cave, also known as the Plato's cave or the parable of the cave, I call it the media cave anyway. Yeah. It was a dialogue. Socrates describes a group of people who have lived chained to a wall of the cave for all their lives, facing a blank wall. The people watch shadows projected on the wall by things passing in front of a fire behind them, and then begin to ascribe forms to these shadows. According to Socrates, the shadows are as close as the prisoners get to viewing reality. He then explains how a philosopher is like a prisoner who is freed from the cave and comes to understand that the shadows on the wall do not make up reality at all, as he can perceive the true form of reality rather than mere shadows seen by the prisoners. And I think that's the media compared to when we awaken. When we have an awakening in our life, an epiphany moment,
when
we awaken, we ignite on fire, and something that no longer feels right. Something no longer feels like we're in the right roller coaster track.
Yeah.
We better get off this one. This one's headed towards doom.
No, it's a really good description, actually.
I think the cave is a good story for showing how television, because it's the shadows. It is the reality that's being put in the cave wall, and we as people, I mean, I think of this last 9/11. I mean, and I have a heart for the people who were lost in this. To me, it was a sacrifice, a bad one, an occult sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know, it was allowed to be that. It was given over to be that. And it was utilized by occultists as something. I mean, it happened on the proper date. I mean, if you look at the time, even I was surprised in the series they brought up the time of the hit when what was it? I have too many notes here. The crash at the Pentagon. And I'm trying to remember. It was here it was. It was 9:38, and I added up the 8 and the 3 because I used to study numerology. I came to 11. It's another 9/11 for those people who haven't done the math. So I just think it's interesting. There are some kind of what I call occult parallels that show that whoever did this had some occult knowledge. And I realize that can include, it's of a Kabbalistic nature, so it can include a lot of different idealisms, including the occult versions of Islam, the occult versions of the Jew, the occult versions of Christianity, and yes, there are some, the Luciferians, all of them, even the Freemason Masonic teachings can go along with these things. this is no longer a conspiracy theory, folks. Many of these things can be traced back and shown to be conspiracy facts. That there are links, defined links. People like Albert Pike, go look up the name. Go learn who he was about, what was it about. Do it on your own. It's nice to go to YouTube videos. It's nice to hear us all talk. But you really have to be responsible for learning your own reality, learning your own truth. And because there's so much illusion, so many cave drawings being put on this wall in front of you, the illusions of reality. And as we were terrorized over 9/11, which we were for days before, we heard about this two people were going to were in America and going to car bomb or whatever, and we didn't know where they were, but it was a reliable source. To me, that was media terrorizing us. And to me, that means that they're using this to conform us, to create a state of fear, because they want to have us in a prison population. They want to have us controllable. Whatever it takes to do it, whether it be putting things in your water, dumping chemtrails on your head, whatever they got to do to get you under a state of submission to them. Because if you're not controllable, folks are going to have to get rid of you. That's what their next course of action would be. As it is, we see there's a lot of people. What was really interesting to me, where was that? I looked at mind control. And one of the names that got brought up, this was in Wikipedia, and it said the theories were later expanded and modified by psychologists, including Margaret Singer. Interesting. Mind control, also by Margaret Singer. I heard that name before, Margaret Singer. So I went back and I looked. She was a person who, and most people put her back as being the founder of family planning, and all of that. And it is family planning because she was a eugenicist. She believed in eugenically taking the population down. This is a big subject I could spend hours talking about, and of course, being a conspiracy theorist, I do. But I want you guys to understand. Go look these things up on your own. Go study them on your own. Be careful. There's people out there who are really trying to convince you of things that aren't true. Yeah. And it's all done through television. It's just why I love having people who have been in TV and that experience on here, because when you got cameras in your face, when you are being taken around, being mind controlled into everything that you're doing, it becomes a little circus like what we saw with this 9/11 road trip that the BBC did.
Yeah.
So what is your take on all of this overall? If you were to give us a synopsis of your whole adventure in a nutshell, how would you explain that to people?
It was a propaganda hit piece commissioned by the BBC, but they got an independent company to do it, so they don't have to be fair and impartial. Very clever people. People who work in TV are very, very clever. They know exactly what they're doing. They're consulting psychologists to try and assort your own mind. They're going after your mind. That's what they need. And the show was crap, to be honest. It was rubbish. I'm glad to see so many dislikes on it on Facebook, on YouTube, sorry, because it was terrible. It was so cut and spliced in so many different ways to portray things that didn't even happen.
Well, I saw most of what I see the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You were saying.
Oh, I was saying the first time I watched it, it was one of these things where I looked at it and went, "This is just utter rubbish," because what it is just getting you into trying to bring you into a cult. It's how a cult works. They send you to some place. You get. Believe me, I was with a cult once. I know how they operate. I got almost pulled in. I got lucky. I got out before it was too late. But it was a cult nonetheless, and they're very tricky, and they pull you in by getting you to conform because you want to be one of us.
Yeah, but it could have been such a great documentary if they just documented what happened out there. If they just documented what happened out there accurately, it would have been a fantastic documentary. Instead, they cut and spliced in something that it wasn't, and it turned out to be rubbish. And so, that's up to the independent production company. That's on their CV. That's their problem.
And they also picked and choose based upon what they felt was the criteria psychologically and otherwise.
Yeah, that would gain the support of people who can't see through that. People that take
and also they would try to use that to instill a sense of what is right, what is wrong. In other words, they can pre-think their arguments and then utilize that.
The whole message is, you know, don't question 9/11 anymore. You're bringing up bad memories for the family. This is what they're trying to push. But, you know, there are people that have lost their family members in 9/11, and they are campaigning themselves for a new investigation. So, you know, there's always something to contradict them, and that's what they're worried about. They're on the ropes at the moment. You know, there's too much evidence out there at the moment. And as long as things keep on getting stronger, the truth will eventually come out.
Yeah. And what do you think the ultimate truth will be for you? Who do you think is in control of all this? How do you see it? Give me the big picture.
Well, no, I don't think anyone's in control of it. I think it's chaos, but there are people that are influencing it in big ways. And those people will be revealed at some point. You know, God knows, it might take 30 years, it might take 50 years. This is what I worry about 9/11. I worry that it'll be something, everyone finds out the truth, but it'll be 30 years down the line. You know, a small section in the newspaper. No one will really hear about it because the world's got bigger problems by that stage.